Right away, we're thrown into a powerful moment. The defendant says she committed these crimes while grieving her mother's death. That raises a big question courts often face. How much should personal tragedy affect criminal responsibility? Grief can explain behavior, but legally, it rarely excuses it.
These crimes, my mom just passed away.
I don't understand how your grieving translates into your committing crime. And you're Ms. Pius, correct? All right, you entered a plea of guilty on January 21st. So you're charged with fraudulent possession or use of credit card or debit card, 10 to 50 items as a second-degree felon. Any objections to the court signing the dismissals now, or
Object to her because he's some
agreement to these cases being dismissed now? They're really not to be dismissed now because your plea bargain agreement, I haven't even accepted it yet and entered a sentence. I've just accepted the contract that you want to enter into. Do you understand? All right. So, but again, if somebody brings me case law that says something differently, I'll review it. I never said I know everything.
Let's pause for a second because something important just happened here. The judge is talking about a plea bargain. That means the defendant already agreed to plead guilty in exchange for a specific sentence recommendation. But here's the key detail. The judge hasn't officially accepted the sentence yet. Until that happens, the judge still has the power to approve or reject parts of the agreement.
Punishment is to be assessed at 10 years in the prison. There's a $1,200 fine. State is opposed to your application. This is running concurrent with 2025 CR 008396. All right, state, you're opposed. I'll hear your argument, but before we do that, for the record, in cause number 2025 CR 008396, there was a plea of guilty to count 1. The enhancement in count 2 was waived without objection. And according to the plea bargain agreement in that case, punishment is to be assessed at 10 years in the prison. There's a $1,200 fine. This case is to run concurrent with 2025 CR 014167, taking in consideration 2025 CR 015020 and 2025 CR 015019. All right, the court will hear argument.
opposed to Brian's application. She would be a good candidate. She's done 2 trips to prison in the past, but more importantly, crimes she's had in her history of crimes of moral turpitude. She's also involved with information. Based on the TAP evaluation, it appears Ms. Paez is not motivated, and in the state's opinion, motivation's the biggest driving factor for someone to be successful on probation because of this reasonably lost.
Now the courtroom shifts into a critical debate. Prison or probation? The defense is arguing that she deserves a second chance so she can care for her 4 children and rebuild her life. But the prosecutor is focusing on something courts take very seriously: motivation. Judges often believe probation only works if the person is truly committed to changing their behavior.
All right, defense.
Judge, I spoke with Ms. Paez and she wanted me to speak on her behalf. So she informed me, and I think it's noted in the TAP evaluation, she has 4 kids, and they're currently in custody of the father-in-law. And apparently she had congenital heart failure, epilepsy. So while she was in the hospital, the kids were removed from her custody. I would anticipate if the court grants her release, there's going to have to be some sort of CPS plan before she can get custody of the kids. She informed probation, informed me she planned to live with a friend of hers. She did mention, I mean, she's had prior criminal convictions for probation for drug use and indicated use of amphetamines and marijuana, but according to the TAP evaluation, none for 5 years. But I'd like to ask the court for probation so she can get out and try to take care of her kids and give her a chance to get back on track and hopefully stay out of trouble. So I'd ask the court to grant her application for probation.
All right. Is there anything you wish to say?
I would be.
Well, here's the thing. Before you say anything, I would have to place you under oath, and the state would have an opportunity to ask you questions. So do you wish to say anything? It's up to you. All right. Can you raise your right hand?
This moment is extremely important. By choosing to speak under oath, the defendant opens herself up to questioning from both the prosecutor and the judge. That can be risky. One wrong answer or contradiction can weaken the argument for probation, but it's also her chance to show remorse and convince the court she deserves another opportunity.
It was at this moment that she knew. She fucked up.
All right. I'm going to need you to speak up so I can hear and probation can hear, and so that the state can hear. All right. If you'll state your name for the record.
Melissa Renee Pice.
All right. Whoever
Melissa, what would you like to tell the judge about why you think you should be given an opportunity of probation?
I think that I should be given an opportunity of probation because I have been incarcerated twice in the past, but I do have children out there and I do want to be in their lives. The only way I'm going to be able to get back in my children's lives is if I get back on the right track. And in order for me to do that, I know what the consequences come if I take this probation. If I mess up, I know that I'm going to have to go back and do a lot more time. So I know that. But the longer that I wait to get my life on track, I'm not going to be able to have my kids kind of thing. And I need to do that. When I get out, I have 2 job offerings, one at a Bolero and one at a hotel. And both of my friends are offering me jobs there immediately. And I have no issue with submitting drug urinalysis. I have no problem doing none of that. And I just would like to be given that chance.
Well, I'm glad you shared that with me. It's a big step for both of us.
Pass witness.
Any questions?
Ms. Pius, you mentioned your children. Were you thinking of your children when you committed these offenses? No.
That question from the prosecutor is brutal but strategic. Were you thinking about your children when you committed the crimes? It forces a defendant to confront the core issue, responsibility. In court, emotional explanations like grief can create sympathy, but prosecutors will often test whether the defendant is truly taking accountability.
How is the court to believe now that you're going to use your children as motivation? How did you be successful on probation? I was grieving whenever I committed these crimes. My mom just passed away a year ago, this last month, just passed away. So I wasn't in the right state of mind to these crimes. I wasn't thinking about anybody. I was being selfish. Thank you. No.
I don't have anything further.
All right. I have a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand how your grieving translates into your committing crime. And the reason why I'm asking, I'm trying to understand your thought process.
Hey, when my mom passed away,
Does anybody have any Kleenex over there?
Okay.
Okay.
my mom passed away. I can admit that I just spiraled down just immediately after she passed away. Like I couldn't handle it. And then I needed help paying for my brother's bills whenever I got out because I was living with him. I rolled out to Bevo, and I just got into something that was easy and it just stuck. And that's why I did it, because I just wanted to help. But drugs was never my addiction problem. It was the fact that I needed to help and I couldn't. But I was
So sorry. Excuse me, miss. You're going to have to take a seat. All right, you may continue.
I was grieving, and I can admit that I did start doing drugs, but like I said, drugs has never been my thing. So when I did that, it's just like when I got stuck doing that one thing on that drug that it just kept going from there, and I just kept going.
And where were your children doing all of this?
They were my father-in-law. But my father-in-law, again, was telling me that I couldn't get back into my children's life until I was stable, and I understood that. But again, I was grieving and I started doing drugs, and I just, I got stuck in that predicament. And my parole out to is Bevo, and they're over here in San Antonio.
So your parole offers what?
I paroled out to Bevo where my mom lived,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids are here in San Antonio.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
And this is a turning point. The The judge decides probation isn't appropriate and sentences her to prison instead, even though she expressed regret and talked about her children. The court ultimately focused on her past behavior and the seriousness of the charges. It's a reminder of a harsh reality in the justice system. Once someone has multiple convictions, convincing a judge to grant probation becomes much harder.
All right. So here's the thing. I don't think you're appropriate for probation. So I'm not going to grant your application. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fine you, and cause number 2025 CR 014167. Court is going to find you guilty. The court will sentence you to a $1,200 fine. Time and money will run concurrently. Court will request the therapeutic community. This will run concurrent with 2025 CR 008396. Take in consideration, there's to be no contact with, I'm sorry, state you may be excused. There's to be no contact with Mission Mitsubishi at 9800 San Pedro, and the court will sentence you to 9 years in the prison and give you credit for any time served. And that cause number, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because it's a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. In cause number 2025 CR 008396, the court is going to find you guilty. Court will give you credit for any time served. Court will sentence you to 9 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. There's a $1,200 fine. Time and money will run concurrently. Concurrent with 2025 CR 014167, 2025 CR 01. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. The therapeutic community is designed to help you with whatever issues you may have. It's to help you hopefully come back into society, rehabilitated, and be successful and not get sent back. I don't have any jurisdiction to force them to place you in the program, but in the judgment, it'll see that the court requested the therapeutic community. It won't increase the time that you're in custody, and you'll need to request it as well. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, counsel.